Hey, Jack from Alphacharts with a state of the market video. Today is March 1st, 2025. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. Now, I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and your risk tolerances. Thank you all for watching the video. I do appreciate it. If you can, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do that right now, click the button. I would appreciate that. You could also find me on X at Alphacharts365, where I'm sharing ideas and information all week long. I also run a subscriber portion, and I give specific content to them, including a weekend market video with an extended watch list for idea generation, a focus list video with the names that I'm specifically looking for, with where I'd like to get in and where I want to manage risk. Midweek video on both Tuesday and Thursday. I do a market note on Sunday night that kind of ties everything together for people. And one on Thursday. Again, I'm trying to give content to where my subscribers are, right? So some people may like the notes better, some people like the video, some people wait for the weekend market note to tie everything together. I do daily market scans, annotated charts. We do a live cast once a month, right? So that's a very interactive portion where subscribers, ask me to do chart requests and market questions and how to handle situations, and we have a good conversation. So if this can help you, click on that subscribe button. It's only $10 a month, and there is no contracts or anything. It's really for the value you're getting. You can't beat it, and if you don't like it, you get to stop. If you love it, you continue, and that's just the way it goes. And it's easy to get in, easy to get out. And I think this content could help a lot of people out there. So if you're interested, click subscribe. All the video content is given to my members on YouTube. So if you're not on X, I use all the same information, but I share with also a YouTube group. And you click join right there. I understand not everybody is on X, so you could check that out here if you're a YouTube only watcher. All right, let's get into the charts. Um, so we had a nice Friday reversal here, right? But where to come? Right where we would expect it to come, into this potential support area. I was expecting something like this to happen. It didn't work out exactly like that, but it was pretty darn close, right? We went kind of more sideways, still stuck under a declining 50-day and under all the moving averages, but above the 200. So a lot of mixed signals. In the end, I view this as a chop zone, which may end up as a double bottom or a major top, right? We don't know yet. But has double bottom potential in it now. If it can start to build out a bottom, I think it's too early to call it that. Friday was day one. Good volume coming in. It was, I believe, a options expiration day as well, which could, help with the volume on that day. Anyway, so day one is looking good, but overall the week was rough, down a percent. But you see how the buyers stepped in towards the end, and because we are end of the month, let us go and look at the monthly, and the monthly was down 1.28. But when you put on a monthly chart, just to take a look at it, you can see this uptrend, and it's really not doing, it's had really 3 months tight, right? So that's kind of interesting, right? So you had this kind of 3 months of the sideways action from December, January, and February. And is this just a consolidation within an uptrend on the monthly? On the weekly, you could kind of see it as well, right there. And then go back to the daily. Let's go to RSP real fast. Let's stick on the monthly for now. And you see RSP, similar enough, not as smooth as the S&P, but it was down zero point 0.6 on the monthly. On the weekly, it was up zero point 0.8. Well, that's kind of nice to see. And then on the daily, you see how it's still interacting, but you know, not in all clear. So acting better than a SPY, which tells you what? To me, what does that say? That tells me that it's the mega caps and the large caps that are really holding back the index, and that's what people are selling. Basically, when we go to the Mag 7 down here, we'll be able, I think, to see that. But overall, the stuff under the surface, they're not selling everything, right? All right, so I would like to see this get above the election VWAP. That's at around 180-ish, 180.50 or so. That would be what I like to see here. But again, not doing anything wrong here, but not exactly doing anything right either. Looking at the cues, okay, here's your day one right there. Um, again, we were extended to the downside, so I don't want to put too much weight in this yet. Yes, we may get a couple more days going higher, but we need to start to get above some of these moving averages that are all declining now for me to feel a little bit more comfortable with that. On the weekly, down 3.4. Again, makes sense with our them selling the Mag 7 type of thesis. And on the monthly, you could see this out of this cup and handle. It's been a very, very, very nice, from 375 to 514. That's a beautiful move right there. And so, yeah, there's a consolidation there. And really, again, there's your 3 months of just sideways action here. And again, maybe it comes back, right? This is from 2002. Again, we don't know what happens here, but yeah, you just have sideways consolidation. That's all we could say, right? We don't want to read too much into it. Here's your equal weighted cues. There's your cup and kind of handle-esque thing. It tried to break out and it got pushed back in. So again, I was liking the breakout, but it just couldn't go. And I like the breakout on these larger time frames, but it was down 1.19. Cues were down on the monthly 2.69. So again, not good on the monthly, right? Pushed back in. There's your weekly down 2.55. So again, quite a bit. And there's that false breakout right there. Um, and then going to the daily, the 200-day moving average is literally right below it. We'll see if this can start to retake some of these other moving averages. But again, not a good look with a false breakout from failed moves come fast moves in the opposite direction. Great example of that here, right? And by the way, that moved from all-time highs to these lows, 6% in literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So lost 6.25% in 6 days. That's a lot. That's a lot. Mid caps, again, not that's the daily. Let's start with the monthly because we have monthly charts that are intact right now. Down 4%, over 4% on the month. And again, try to break out of this big base. And if this is a true base breakout here, then this should move higher, right? So that's what I'm expecting. And on the weekly, it was down 0.12. And on the daily, you can see it started to break down and then came right back. We would call that an oops reversal, right? That's something like that. Going all the way back to here. And I can actually probably go here and make things look a little bit better, right? There you go. This is technical analysis, so we get to do that. But yeah, so underneath the 200-day, so there's still a lot of technical damage on the mid caps in all these charts. But it is day one, so we're watching that. And let's just finish things off with IWM on the weekly, on the monthly. And you have listen, I mean, this could be a big base in IWM. If it breaks out for real, that was like a false breakout right there, right? But if it does retake the VWAPs and breaks above, 234-ish and gets above 245, this could be the start of a really big spot right here, right? You had this is from 2009, the big uptrend, and now you have this just sideways consolidation. That's what this could be. On the weekly chart, you can see it right there. Just, kind of whatever you want to call this big base consolidation area. But it's been tough. Weekly was down 1.4, still a very weak look to it. And on the daily, there's your reversal right there. But below all the moving averages, the 50-day now is really turning lower. 200-day is starting to flatten out. So again, not a great look. The 50-day hasn't looked like this, since what 2023 it did kind of, in this choppy section right here. It hasn't looked like this in a long time. So not a good look. So I would definitely be cautious. Again, day one is nice. Let's keep, maybe we could stack some on top of it and start to retake these moving averages. But until that happens, I don't think I want to be involved in the market. All right, looking at the sectors. XLF, big breakout, back to these basically all-time highs. XLF at all-time highs, right? You can't get too bearish if XLF is at all-time highs. SMH. SMH went to the bottom of this broadening pattern and it reversed right there. It's funny how these, arbitrary lines, for whatever reason, kind of hold. Um, but it did. And we'll see if we get some follow through now. You have the 50-day really turning lower. You have the 200-day flattening out. You have almost no space between the two, less than about half of a percent, which means that it's very likely this 50-day is going to be crossing that 200-day soon. And that could be a technical sell trigger for some people. Um, it's close, right? They're close, and it's probably going to happen. So we'll see what happens there, right? But again, underneath all the moving averages, it's not a good look. Yes, this is day one, and even if we rally up back to 240-ish, this is a short-term trade because we would expect to hit some supply as it comes back into the moving averages. Looking at the equal weights, again, very similar situation. 50-day looping down, 200-day is literally flat as can be, and we have a day one. That's it. IYT looked good yesterday, right? But still has a lot of technical damage. XTN is more important to me. As you know, it did lose the 200-day. It kind of now closed right there at the 200-day, right? But the 50-day is still going lower, and we still have a lot of, again, technical damage on the charts. ITB, maybe the most important chart out there, right? Uh, Picture perfect head and shoulders. Picture perfect. And we let's look on the monthly chart. Look at this on the monthly. Can't really see much on the monthly, but you see how you have a potential top here, right? On the weekly, you can see it a little bit better. Boom. Very nice. Now, wouldn't be shocked if we bump up here a little bit and then build out the rest of this right shoulder. This is kind of quick, right? And I can see us do like almost like an inverse of this on this side, make it symmetrical, and then potentially break. So it could be a few more weeks if it does break, and maybe it won't, right? We don't know that. But again, up below the 200-day, 200-day is now declining. 50 days well below it. You cross well back here, way back here. So this is a leading indicator. If this does break down, I would expect the rest of the market to break with it. If this starts to retake moving averages and makes a higher high, basically gets above the 200-day moving average, I think that we're in the all clear. XHB looks exactly the same. And then the Mag 7. So this is the Mag 7, and it came down right to this prior resistance, which turned into support, and so far it's held as support. There's your 200-day right there. Your 50-day is starting to flatten out a little bit, right? Starting to flatten out a little bit. Going back 50 days is here, right there. So you can see how once next week we get rid of this data, it's going to start to flatten and start to turn lower. That's going to be an issue as this is likely to go in between the 50 and the 200-day, probably a little bit more, and then we'll see what happens. But as far as that goes, let's look at this on the monthly. Again, it's a newer ETF, so it doesn't have a ton of data behind it. But you see the strong uptrend. I mean, it went from $26, it doubled basically in 2 years. So we'll see what kind of pullback. I mean, a pullback would be absolutely normal. Maybe a weekly chart could see it better because we'll have a little bit more bars in there. But you see how it's holding here. And could it break this? Absolutely. I wouldn't be shocked if it does. I mean, it was down. Think about it. The mags were down 4.55 on the weekly, right? SPY was down 1%. Qs were down 3.4. It shows you the effect. Again, and mags were down 4.5. Equal weighted was up. Equal weighted here was down, but down less. So again, it shows you what the power of the Mag 7 on a cap weighted basis. Mid caps, which is a more equal weighted product, was almost even, and IWM was at 1.4. Okay, so there you go. So again, the mags, I think that right now they're suspect. my opinion, and they are weighing on the market. If it's just a run of the mill, people got over their skis in the mags, and once, in another, couple weeks, or, maybe next week, who knows, um, things build out and this turns into a double bottom, I think that from this consolidation, we could get a very, very, very strong move. I'm not ready to call that yet because we have to see this actually build out. But if we do, I think that it could be a really good time and the first really good time for 2025 to be long in the markets. But for now, I think more patience makes sense. You don't want to be the first one in the pool, right? You'll be the first one to the party. Let's see some conviction in the markets, and then we could join in. All right. If you haven't done so, check me out on X at Alphacharts365. Click on the subscribe button. I think you'll really like this type of content. And if you don't, it's easy. It's month to month. All right. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.